Mama G's restaurant never closed. Day and night, her doors remained open, always warm with fire and the scent of cooking. Even if you arrived at 3 a.m., you would find food, hot, ready, and served with a smile. People came from everywhere. Some came walking, some came with bikes, and some even came barefoot. They all came for the same reason: Mama G's food. The pepper soup could make a sick man dance. Her jollof rice had the smell of Christmas morning. The soup, thick like a secret and sweet like a stolen mango. Her pounded yam sat like a king beside every bowl. People lined up to buy food even before it was ready, and by the time the first plate was dished, it would all be gone within minutes. The townspeople said it was because her food was simply too good. They said she used the finest spices, secret blends, and a touch that no one else had. But nobody asked questions. Nobody looked too deep. The food was too good, too sweet, too perfect. Her shop was always full. Laughter in the air, plates clapping, voices shouting, "Add more meat, Mama G." And she would laugh, her gold tooth shining. "Eat and forget your sorrows," she would say, scooping stew like a river, flowing over stones. But behind that smile, behind those pots, something else was boiling, something only Mama G knew. And soon, Asaba would know too, because every pot has a bottom, and some bottoms hide more than pepper. Inside Mama G's kitchen, where the walls always sweated from fire, and the smell of stew danced in the air, there was one pot that never opened. It was big and black and old. It sat in the corner near the back wall. That pot never moved. No one ever touched it. No one even dared to go near it. Only Mama G went close, and she used it only once every year, in December, always alone. Doors locked, curtains drawn. That pot never made smoke. No one saw her open it. But when December came and she cooked with that pot, her food would taste sweeter than ever, sweeter than sugar cane, richer than a king's feast. Yet the pot stayed quiet, heavy, cold, full of something no one wanted to imagine. Her husband, Mr. Dan, was a man who loved food more than anything. He would stroll into the kitchen, humming. He would lift covers, taste soups, lick spoons, chew meat. But the day he went near the big pot, Mama G appeared like lightning. "Don't touch that one," she shouted. "Eyes sharp like Akshak you. Atla a blade." Mr. Dan blinked. "Why?" he asked, trying to smile. "Because I said so," she snapped. "That one is special." He never asked again. Even her workers, small girls with tired eyes and sore hands, they knew better. They washed every corner of the shop, but never that spot. The big pot was like a grave. You walk past it, not near it. And when the last plate was served and the last customer gone, Mama G would sit close to the pot. Sometimes she talked to it. Sometimes she touched the lid gently, like it was a baby sleeping. Only she knew what was inside. And even the walls of the kitchen held their breath. Mama G's restaurant was always full of people, but one thing was strange. None of her workers came from Asaba, not even one. The people in town talked about it. "Why doesn't Mama G hire our children?" they asked. "Why is it always new faces every year?" Her workers were all young, boys and girls, skinny arms, quiet mouths. They never laughed much. They worked like their legs were tied to the ground. Wash plate, fetch water, clean table, pound yam, serve food. And when everyone else was sleeping, they were still sweeping. But every December, like clock ticking, Mama G would travel. She would pack her fine bags, wear her neat gown, and leave for a small faraway village called Abba. That village had dusty roads, broken roofs, and hungry children with big eyes and dry lips. Mama G would go from house to house talking to poor families. She would sit under the tree with mothers and uncles. She would hold their hands and speak sweet like honey. Let me take your child to town. I will send them to school. I will feed them. I will clothe them. Let me help. And when they hesitated, she would open her bag and show them photos. Pictures of children in school uniforms, smiling in classrooms, holding books. Look at Grace, she would say. See Frank, she would smile. They are doing well, learning fast. You will be proud. And the poor parents, they would wipe their eyes, nod slowly, and say, take him. Let him have a better life. Carry her. She will do well with you. Because when you have nothing, even a lie can look like a gift. So every Christmas, Mama G returned with new children. One boy, one girl, sometimes two, sometimes three, and every year they never came back. The first child Mama G took was a girl named Grace. Grace was just 15. Her heart was soft. Her eyes always looked like she wanted to cry. One day, her house caught fire. Big fire. Angry fire. It burned everything. Her mother and father died inside. The house turned to ashes, just like that. After the fire, Grace had nowhere to go, so she moved in with her uncle. But the uncle already had too many mouths to feed. His own children were always hungry. There was never enough food, never enough clothes, never enough smiles. Grace would sit by the riverside every day, quiet, thinking, watching the water move like it had secrets. That was where Mama G saw her. She walked up, sat beside her, and said, do you want to go to school? Grace looked up. Her lips trembled, but she nodded slowly. Mama G touched her shoulder gently. Don't worry, I will take care of you. You will go to school, wear fine clothes, eat good food. You will be happy again. The next morning, she went to the uncle's house. She spoke sweet like sugar. Let me carry Grace, let me train her. You'll be proud. The uncle agreed. He thought it was a blessing. And just like that, Grace left the village. When they got to Asaba, Grace smiled for the first time in a long while. Mama G bought her school uniform, exercise books, even gave her a small phone. She started school. She learned fast. She laughed sometimes. She even called her uncle once. She felt safe. She felt lucky. She thought, maybe the world is kind again. But it didn't last long. By the time the second school term came, everything changed. One morning, Mama G stood in front of her and said, you cannot just keep eating and going to school. What are you giving back? Grace looked confused. But you said, Mama G's voice turned hard. I said what I said. Now get ready. You're working with me. School stopped, uniform folded, books thrown into a corner. Grace started washing plates, grinding pepper, fetching water, cleaning tables, serving food from morning to night. Even her phone was taken. No more calls, no more friends, no more dreams. She worked till her hands hurt. She slept on the floor. She cried into her wrapper at night. But Mama G didn't care. And when Grace begged, please, can I go and visit my uncle? Mama G said, it is not time yet, just be patient. So Grace stayed. She worked and she waited, but nobody came for her. And slowly, the river inside her heart dried up. 1 year passed. Then Christmas came. Pack your things, Mama G told her one evening. We are going to the village. Grace jumped with joy. Finally, she would see her people again. But Mama G had one rule. She traveled at night, so they left under the cover of darkness. By morning, Mama G arrived in Abba alone. Then someone asked, where is Grace? Is she coming home for Christmas? Mama G smiled, her teeth white, her eyes sharp. No, she traveled with her school. They went to Abuja for excursion. She even said I should greet you all. The people nodded, impressed. She's going to places now. She's enjoying. God bless Mama G. Then Mama G opened her bag. She brought out a photo. Grace was standing in a classroom holding a book, smiling. She said she will visit soon, Mama G said. The people clapped. They believed everything. After all, the photo looked real, and Grace was smiling. Nobody knew what had happened to her in town. And right there, in that sweet moment of fake joy, a mother stepped forward. Her son stood beside her, a small boy with dusty feet and wide eyes. His name was Frank. The mother held Mama G's hand, her voice soft like the evening breeze. Please, take my son too. Let him go to school like Grace. Let him also have a better life. Mama G looked at the boy, then at the crowd. She nodded. I will help him. He will be like Grace. You'll see. And just like that, another child was added to the list. Frank was different. His eyes were sharp like torchlight in the dark. His mind worked fast. He could fix broken radios with blade and wire. His mother, a widow, sold groundnuts under the sun. Her fingers were always burned, her wrapper always dusty, but her heart was full of hope. Hope for Frank. One Christmas, Mama G came again. She stood in front of the woman's wooden stall and smiled. This boy is special, she said, tapping Frank's head gently. Let me take him. I will make him great. He will wear suit, work in office. He will become an engineer. The woman cried, but nodded. She packed his things, one shirt, 2 trousers, and a Bible. Make me proud, my son, she whispered. Frank followed Mama G to the town, and it started well. She enrolled him in JSS 3, bought him a sharp pencil case, white socks, even a school bag with cartoon designs. He joined a science club and called home every Sunday. Mama, I am learning fast, he said once. I even touched a computer. His mother danced that day under the mango tree. Thank you, God, she said. But happiness in Mama G's house never lasted long. 3 months passed. Then Mama G said, books don't boil rice. Come and help. Just like Grace, Frank's books disappeared. His uniform folded, his bag thrown under the bed. He started sweeping floors, peeling yam, carrying firewood. He fetched water till his shoulders ached. His voice, once loud with answers, became quiet. Can I go back to school? He asked once. Mama G stared at him. Did school ever feed you? She said coldly. From that day, he stopped asking. And then, one December night, Mama G told him, pack your things. We are going home. Frank's heart jumped. Mama! He shouted with joy. I will see my mother. They left before the cock crowed. But when they reached the village, Mama G came alone. Again. The boy went to America for school excursion, she told them. She showed a photo, Frank in lab coat, holding a beaker. Everyone clapped. His mother smiled with tears, but Frank was gone. And nobody asked where he really went. After Grace and after Frank, Mama G did not stop. Every year, like the Harmattan wind, she returned to Abba with soft words and heavy bags. She went from compound to compound, carrying photos like keys, unlocking the hearts of poor parents. Each time, she said, look at this one, he's now in science class. See her, she joined the school choir. Your child will be just like them. And the parents, they believed. They saw smiling faces in uniforms, holding books, standing near blackboards. They didn't know those pictures were old or sometimes fake. Mama G always came back to town with 2 or 3 new children. She gave them soap. She gave them toothbrushes. She gave them shoes and dreams. But after some time, the shoes would vanish. The soap would finish, the books would be forgotten, and the dreams would die quietly, like a candle in the rain. One by one, the children turned to workers, and one by one, they disappeared. But while they vanished, Mama G's business grew. Her signboard became bigger. It had flashing lights now: red, green, yellow. Her cooking pots became wider, deeper. Her chairs turned to plastic benches. Her queue stretched like washing line in a compound. People said, "Her food is too sweet. There's something she adds to it. Maybe it's her secret recipe." Nobody knew that her secret was not in the pepper, not in the onions, not in the crayfish. The secret was something darker, something that came with a price. While her restaurant grew fatter, the village of Abba grew quieter. Because every year, another child left with Mama G. Another December came. The trees were dusty, the breeze was dry, and in the village of Abba, the drums had stopped dancing. In one small compound at the edge of the village, a girl sat on a wooden bench. Her name was Destiny. Her eyes were quiet. Her feet were bare. Her hair was tied in soft braids. Destiny was an orphan. Both her parents died from sickness, and she now lived with her grandmother, an old woman who sold herbs by the roadside. They were poor. They had only one cup to drink from. Sometimes Destiny went to bed with just water in her belly. That was the day Mama G walked in. She came with a bag of rice, a packet of biscuits, and a voice sweet like melted sugar. She sat on the bench beside the old woman and said, "Mama, let me help this girl. I will take her to town. I will send her to school. She is a special child. She deserves more than this." The grandmother looked at Destiny. Destiny looked at the ground. Then she nodded. She wanted to leave. She wanted more than hunger and silence. Mama G smiled wide and touched her head gently. "You won't regret this," she said. And the next day, Destiny left the village. When they reached Asaba, everything felt new. Mama G gave her shiny shoes, a clean uniform, and even a toothbrush with blue bristles. Destiny saw lights brighter than stars. She smiled a little. She was enrolled in school. She held books with both hands like treasure. She sat at the back of the class, quiet but always watching. She thought, maybe this is the beginning of a better life, but only for a short time. After a few weeks, the school stopped. The shoes were removed. The books were locked away. Her name was taken off the register. Mama G gave her a rag and said, "Start cleaning. The customers are coming." From that day, Destiny began the work. She swept the floor before the birds woke up. She fetched water until her arms shook. She washed pots so big she could fit inside them. She worked from sunrise to midnight. And when her legs got tired, Mama G would say, "You're not here to sleep. You're here to help." Destiny wanted to cry, but she had no tears left. Just like the others before her, Grace, Frank, and the nameless ones, Destiny had become part of the kitchen, but something about Destiny was different. Something the pot had not seen before. In Mama G's world, the kitchen was busy, the food was hot, and the money kept coming. But behind all that noise, something quiet and wicked was creeping. It was Mr. Dan, Mama G's husband. He had a big belly, a loud laugh, and a love for pepper soup. But his eyes had started doing something wrong. His eyes were always on Destiny. When she bent to carry water, he stood behind her. When she washed fish, he sat on the bench, chewing toothpick, staring. When she changed her clothes in the small corner behind the curtain, she heard his footsteps pass by, slowly. "Uncle," she said one evening, her voice shaking like dry leaf in wind. "Do you need anything?" He licked his lips and said, "I need you." Her hands froze. She dropped the plate in her hand. It shattered. He leaned closer. "Don't act shy. I can take care of you more than Mama G." At first, Destiny thought it was a mistake. Then one day, he touched her arm and smiled. Come to the house one day. I'll give you something sweet. Destiny ran. Her hands shook. Her chest felt tight like a drum. That night, she tried to tell Mama G. She stood near the stove and whispered, Mama, your husband is saying things to me. Mama G turned and looked at her, her face hard like stone. Mind your work and stop looking for trouble, she snapped. Destiny swallowed her words. Her voice got stuck in her throat. She stayed quiet, but the danger didn't stop. Then one morning, Mama G called her. Go to the house and bring a bag of rice. It's in the back store. Destiny froze. Alone? She asked. Mama G didn't answer. She just waved her hand and walked away. So Destiny went. She walked slowly, her legs heavy like stones. She opened the gate, entered the house. It was quiet, too quiet. The air felt thick. The light didn't move. She walked to the back store. Suddenly, the front door slammed shut. Click, click, 2 locks. She turned around. Mr. Dan was standing there, his eyes dark, his smile fake. Uncle, please, she whispered. Mama G said I should just get rice. He took a step closer. You're not going anywhere? Yet, he said, his voice slow and heavy. Destiny backed away. She bumped into a chair. Her hands were shaking. Her lips trembled. He moved faster, grabbed her arm, pulled her toward the bedroom. Destiny screamed. She begged. She kicked and cried. Please, let me go. Mama will find out. But he was stronger. He pinned her down. He climbed over her. Then the door burst open. Mama G stood there. She saw everything. Her eyes moved from Destiny's torn dress to Mr. Dan's wicked hands. She didn't blink. She didn't shout. She didn't say a word. She turned around and walked away, leaving Destiny on the bed crying, leaving her husband behind sweating, leaving the house full of shame. By morning, the room was empty. His shoes were gone. His clothes were gone. Even his phone was missing. Destiny woke up to quiet. She went to the shop. Mama G was already there, stirring pepper soup. She didn't look at Destiny. She didn't ask about the rice. She just said, start slicing onions. Later that day, Mama G shouted into the street, my husband is missing. Since I sent Destiny to get rice, he has not come back. People gathered. Mama G cried loud. She held her wrapper. She knelt on the floor. Where is my husband? Destiny stood in the corner, her hands shaking, her chest heavy. She didn't speak. Someone in the crowd pointed at her. Is it not you that saw him last? Another voice spat. Maybe she killed him. Mama G turned, her eyes red. She slapped Destiny so hard her head turned. You touched my husband. You tried to steal him from me. Destiny shook her head. No, Mama, I didn't. Before she could finish, Mama G slapped her. Hot, hard, heavy. Liar, she shouted. You wanted to snatch my husband from me. The crowd gasped. A woman covered her mouth. A man whispered, Is this true? Someone spat on the ground beside Destiny. Another voice said, This girl is cursed. Destiny cried. Her voice broke. I didn't touch him. I didn't do anything. But Mama G was not done. She grabbed a big cooking stick, thick like a tree branch, smooth from fire and oil. She raised it above her head, fire in her eyes. Today, I will beat the demon out of you. Destiny tried to crawl away. Her hands scraped the floor. Her legs shook. Mama G ran after her, lifting the stick to strike, but in her anger, in her rush, in her storm, she hit something else, the forbidden pot. The pot rolled once more, then stopped. The lid moved like a lazy snake and slid off. What came out was not smoke. It was silence, thick, heavy silence. Then a smell, sharp, bitter, strange, not pepper, not meat, something worse, something that made your stomach twist. A woman stepped forward. She looked inside and screamed, loud, like someone poured fire down her throat. Others rushed close. One by one they looked. Then they all screamed. Men covered their mouths. Women fell on the ground. One man vomited near the pepper table. Inside the pot was a head. Mr. Dan, his eyes still open, his lips dark, his neck cut clean. He stared at everyone like he had something to say. But that was not all. Below his head was another, and another, and another. Small heads, Grace, Frank, children, each face frozen in pain, each one a name that never came back home. The pot was full, not with stew, not with soup, but with secrets that had been boiling for years. The pot had spoken, and Asaba would never be the same again. Mama G did not run. She didn't cry. She didn't hide. She didn't beg. She just stood there, her face dry, her eyes empty, like a dried up well. The police came, their boots stamped on the ground. Their whistles screamed. They pushed through the crowd, entered the kitchen, and saw the pot. They looked inside. They stepped back. One officer covered his nose. Another covered his eyes. Then they turned to Mama G and said, "You are under arrest." She nodded. She didn't ask why. They carried her away in handcuffs. The street was silent. Even the wind forgot how to blow. Destiny was taken to a safe place. She sat in a small room, wrapped in a blanket, her hands holding a cup of tea she never drank. Her eyes stared at nothing. At the police station, Mama G sat on a chair. The officer asked, "Why? Why did you do it?" Mama G looked up slowly. Her voice was calm, cold, like water from the bottom of a river. "It was a ritual." The officer blinked. "What kind of ritual?" She answered. "A powerful one that brings people, one that brings money." She looked around the room. "I wasn't always like this. I used to sell by the roadside. My food was good, but no one came. One day, a woman insulted me. She said my soup was tasteless. That day, I went to a native doctor. I told him I wanted power. I wanted people to fight over my food." The room was quiet. "He gave me a choice, a dark one. He said the pot must eat. He said every year it must feed." The officer leaned forward. "Feed on what?" Mama G didn't blink. "On the purest flesh, on the flesh of a child." The officer dropped his pen. She continued, "Every December, I gave it a child, one by one. I chose the poor ones, the forgotten ones. I cooked their parts inside that pot. Just small pieces, not too much, just enough for taste." Her voice was soft now, like a lullaby. "That's why the food was sweet. That's why people always came. They didn't know, but their stomachs knew." She smiled. "It's not just cooking, it's sacrifice." She looked up, her eyes like deep holes. Grace was the first, then Frank, then many more. One child, every year, just before Christmas. She shook her head slowly. Destiny was next. I had prepared everything. I had cleaned the pot. I had sharpened the knife. The signs were right. The spirits were ready. Then her voice changed. It dropped like rain in dry dust. "But Mr. Dan, that foolish man," he touched her. He broke the rule. "No child must be defiled before the sacrifice. It spoils the power. It spoils the taste." She closed her eyes. "So I gave the pot him instead. His flesh was not pure, but it was the only choice left. The pot was hungry. I could not wait." Far away, in the village of Abba, the news reached the ears of the parents. It traveled like wildfire in dry grass. The mothers who gave their daughters, the fathers who sent their sons. They all gathered in the village square, carrying the photos Mama G once gave them. Photos of Grace, of Frank, of children who never returned. The old women wailed. Their voices broke the sky. She lied to us. She used our children. One man fell to the ground, rolling in the sand. I gave her my only son. She showed me a picture. He was smiling in the picture. Another mother tore her wrapper and screamed. That smile was not real. That picture was taken before she killed them. The whole village became a storm of tears. Some fainted, some fought, some just sat and stared, too broken to cry. They had trusted her. They had opened their doors to her. They had given her their children. And now the truth had come out like hot steam from a covered pot, and it burned everyone. Mama G was taken to prison, chains on her hands, guards by her side, no smile, no tears. She didn't fight, she didn't speak. The same way she cooked in silence. She entered her punishment quietly. The restaurant was shut down. The chairs were broken. The tables were burned. The walls were scraped. The signboard with flashing lights was pulled down. The kitchen was locked with big iron chains, and the forbidden pot, the police carried it away. But no one touched what was inside. No one dared. The pot was sealed forever, and even the earth did not want it buried near. As for Destiny, she was taken back to Abba. Her grandmother held her tight, weeping, kissing her cheeks, rocking her back and forth like a baby. But Destiny never said a word. Not even one. Her lips were closed, her eyes far away, like her voice had been stolen. She walked like a shadow, sat for hours, stared at the sky. She didn't laugh. She didn't cry. She just existed. In the town of Asaba, people tried to forget, but they couldn't, because even though the shop was closed, they said the smell of stew still came from the corner at night. Rich, thick, sweet stew. And some nights, when the wind was quiet and the moon stood still, they said you could hear whispers coming from the sealed kitchen. Behind the locked door, a woman's voice, soft, low, almost like she was singing a lullaby. I told them never to open that pot. And then silence, thick silence, because some secrets once cooked into the fire can never be forgotten. The pot is closed, but the story still boils. I hope you enjoyed the tale. If so, please like the video, share it with your family and friends, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for more enchanting tales like this one. Goodbye.